On this week's Go, we celebrate the colors of the rainbow. Welcome to this week's episode of Go. I'm your host, Vanessa Ybarra, and on today's show, it's all about opening up our mind and trying new things. So we're heading to Whistler Olympic Park to give biathlon a shot, and we're also taking yoga to new heights, so stay tuned for that. But speaking of celebrating new things, we're here at the corner of Cleveland and Victoria. We're very exciting. Squamish's first rainbow crosswalk was unveiled back in June. So here to talk more about that, the woman behind the project is Adriana Smith. Thank you for joining me, first of all.
Oh, I'm happy to.
Very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it must be exciting to finally see what you've been petitioning for to finally happen.
Well, it's taking Squamish to a new level as we get onto the world stage. We need to show that we are an open and welcoming community, and that was the initial intention of the crosswalk.
And how far we've come, for sure.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it. I know back in January, you're the one that came up with this idea. You went to council. Tell us what made you first think about it this year and really want to bring it forward.
I wanted to take on something that really kind of showcased Squamish on the world stage. When you go to council, you put in a little, what you're up to. So they knew ahead of time, and they were on board. It was, when do you want it? How fast do you want it? Do you want it in time for your conference? Let's get it before Pride. And I just stood back and went, yeah.
Sure.
That's
Everything.
great. So it was unanimous and very, very supportive. And staff has been really supportive as well. So it's been just such an enjoyable and easy process.
Yeah, there's been so much support, like you said, from the community. You had an event on Canada Day to celebrate this crosswalk. Tell us about that.
The crosswalk was painted just before Canada Day. On Canada Day, the crosswalks were full of kids and tourists
enjoying the
and
colors and
locals, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then during the ribbon cutting about a month ago, we had Peter Kent as acting mayor here with his family and a number of other people, and we brought a whole ton of sidewalk chalk so that the kids could put their own art and their own stamp on it. So it was a lot of fun.
It's so great to see. Like we've said, Vancouver's got one, Victoria. It seems like every city, no matter how small the town is, it's so nice to see. But let's throw to our first story here. Speaking of colors, let's meet one artist whose dark take on popular TV characters is shedding light on mental illness. While they say anyone can learn to be an artist, Christy Poole-Adler certainly didn't require any teaching. She was pretty much born with the creative gene.
It's always been an interest. I always loved drawing when I was little. As soon as I went to university, I found painting was my passion.
The 25-year-old recently graduated with her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree at the University of Edmonton, where she learned everything from the basics of color mixing and canvas painting.
Right now I'm just starting off with a background, just trying to create something interesting that I can work with.
To the limitless world of oil painting, this artist's favorite.
Just the way you can kind of blend with it. I love using a rag and wiping it out. It kind of gives it the ghostly part to it.
Since her time at university, this Whistlerite's paintings have taken on a more serious tone.
It did start from a family member of mine who has schizophrenia. An instructor I had, he really encouraged me to kind of work things out through art.
Sesame Street's Grover, just one of the many unsuspecting cartoon characters that have become central themes in Christie's pieces in an aim to open up discussions on mental illness.
My work, it's about the relationship between mental illness and homelessness, because so many people on the street are suffering from undiagnosed illness, and my overall goal is to kind of break down the negative stigmas surrounding that.
Art lovers could check out Christie and 40 other Sea to Sky artists' work in Art Whistler's latest exhibit that showcases just some of the pieces that have been created in its pop-up studio.
We've had the pop-up studio for approximately 1 year, and we thought that we would put on Creative Boom, the art exhibit, as the 1 year anniversary to celebrate that. On display here are 15 different artists' work. Everything from Christy Poole, who has more of a conceptual type of artwork, to the abstract and to more realistic paintings as well.
This is one of the pieces I did in the pop-up. It's called True Patriot Love. I have my man walking away in his hospital gown, so that's kind of representing the mental illness. Christopher Robin is said to have schizophrenia, and the animals are his delusions. This one is called "The Homeless Shelters Are Filled with Alcoholics and Drug Addicts." In this piece, I have kind of a broken up, what you can kind of see might be like a nice modern home, and it is crushing Big Bird.
As someone used to working alone, spending the last year working beside similar and completely opposite creative minds allowed Christy to reach a whole new level with her paintings.
Once I get to a certain spot, you kind of feel stuck, and so you need fresh eyes, someone else's opinion or what they think you should do next. So yeah, I had a lot of inspiration from them.
Arts Whistler is currently looking for a new location for its pop-up studio, which means for now Christy's studio will be here in its building or in her basement. Not quite as fun, but as any artist knows, with the right colors and motivation, a masterpiece can be created just about anywhere. And don't expect this social activist to put down the brush anytime soon.
With schizophrenia, it's definitely a complicated one, and they're still trying to figure out the best ways to deal with it. Talking about it more, I think, will kind of break down the stigmas that are not necessarily correct or that people are afraid of.
Arts Whistler is currently looking for a new location for its pop-up studio. So if you're a landlord looking to rent out some space, some good news, Arts Whistler only needs it really on a month-to-month basis, so it's not a big commitment. And if you'd like to learn more information, perhaps lend your space, you can visit artswhistler.com. All right, well, sticking with the topic of bright colors here, up in Whistler, there's recently been a color explosion. Every summer, dozens of alpine flowers return to the meadows atop Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain for locals and tourists to enjoy. And we just so happen to have found one of their biggest admirers of all.
I never had a huge interest in flowers until I started hiking in the Alpine. And then you see these guys and you come across a meadow that is just blanketed with colors. It's like fireworks have gone off in the meadows.
Whistler's Graham Sinclair is definitely a stop and smell the roses kind of guy. Only these love of his are alpine wildflowers that come to life every June atop Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain.
I think it's just their weird shapes. They're the bizarreness of some of these flowers. We've got this one flower, this Western Pasque flower. We also call it hippie on a stick. It's got these hairs that just fall over.
What also makes these flowers so fascinating to Graham is their adaptability. Rooted 6,000 feet above the valley, it takes a special kind of flower to thrive in alpine conditions.
It's just a heck of a lot harsher up here. One of the things that the flowers do is they grow these bigger than usual flowers, bigger than they do down below. And the reason for that is just to attract different pollinators in. Another thing they'll do is they'll stay closer to the ground. The reason for that being they want to stay out of the wind. So we got this beautiful little flower here, right? The bract lousewort.
When he isn't busy discovering new flora and fauna, Graham works as lead tour guide of the Whistler Two Peaks, Two Pass tour.
But this guy is pretty amazing. He's got this beautiful purple stem, and that is just built so that he can absorb as much sunlight as he possibly can.
For 2 hours, Graham and the rest of the guides take visitors on a special journey, where along with Whistler's geological history, they learn the unique use and characteristics of these over 36 flowers that call Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain home.
We want to sensitize people to the environment that's in front of them. Be inspired by the beauty of nature and by what the nature can provide for us when we know where to look. Another thing that I think is fascinating about the flowers up here is just that this is nature's pharmacy. You know, we've got this one beautiful little flower called the mountain arnica. It can soothe your aches and pains. So this little guy here, this is called Sitka valerian. And the root from this flower, it's the source for the drug valerian. Valerian is used as an antispasmodic.
It's great to look around and see just the wildness of nature and to understand some of the things that the natives did with the flowers in terms of healing and that kind of stuff, and realize where, you know, medicines come from.
They're gorgeous. I love the variation in color. I love the Indian paintbrush. It's one of my favorites.
With countless trails to admire the flowers and only until early September to do so before they die off, you can expect admirers like Graham will be logging quite a bit of mileage in the next month or so. Just don't expect these walks to be fast-paced. Like any beauty,
You can't help but look at what's right in front of you.
If you'd like to learn more interesting stories behind the flowers up on Whistler and Blackcomb Mountain, local biologist Bob Bredd is giving a talk on August 21st, which is a Sunday. It starts at 12:30 at the Rendezvous Lodge, and it's pretty cool. It's all part of the educational speaker series that Whistler Blackcomb has been hosting all summer. It's every Sunday, and every afternoon a local expert comes in and talks about their level of expertise. So to learn more about that event, visit whistlerblackcomb.com and just click on the Events and Activities tab at the top of the page there. Well, don't go anywhere, because when we return, I'm about to see what yoga is like 2 feet up in the air. Also after the break,
the hardest thing for them is to control their breathing. They have to make sure they slow their heart rates down.
we meet a group of sharpshooters up at Whistler Olympic Park. Welcome back from the break. Well, in today's show, we're taking in the colors of the rainbow here in downtown Squamish, celebrating the new crosswalk that was painted back in June with the woman behind the project, Adriana Smith. Adriana, we've talked about the crosswalk, but of course, it was Safe and Sound that's kind of the group behind it. So for people who don't know, what is Safe and Sound that you're part of?
So Safe and Sound is a local community group. There are about 8 to 10 of us full time, and of course when we're doing events we have youth come in when we're doing specific initiatives. We're basically a support group for LGBTQ plus and allies and families. We're a resource group that manages to have a lot of fun at the same time. We're here to listen, to provide resources, and to work in the community to kind of further the conversation about things like accessibility, so gender-neutral washrooms, and LGBTQ plus initiatives in the workplace, safety conversations, that kind of thing. We also offer groups for youth to come. We have the sounding room that meets for families and youth to come bring their families a little bit more information. And we do games nights and well, we're going to have a lot more fun in the fall too. We're coming up with a few initiatives.
Yeah. I would say I love the name. It just shows the boldness. Gay games. That's awesome, right?
Absolutely.
Can't get more literal than that.
A lot of fun.
But back to the library for a sec. So it's once a month. It's starting back in September again. It's so great. People can come, just talk about anything. Like I said, maybe a few years ago, it was the initial issue of coming out that was the biggest maybe issue facing the LGBTQ community. But in 2016, what are we still facing? Like, what's the main thing people come that they want to talk about, or the struggles they're still dealing with?
Right. Well, I think for a lot of parents, there are concerns to deal with that might need a little bit more resource than speaking with their teen. I know that in coming out there can be a lot of emotion, some struggle, maybe some communication, and just furthering an understanding of what it means to be in that community. In the case of some transgender, it's how it is to be in that body, and to move in society and in our lives, in our workplaces, in our families, freely expressed and free to be who we are. Yeah. And there's some wonderful parents in this community. They've showed up asking good questions. The youth feel more supported if their parents are asking the questions, and contributing to bringing that together is it just strengthens.
It totally does. Yeah. As do local events also. So we have the Rainbow Crosswalk, great. But you said another spotlight for you guys, or special event, was this summer taking part in the Pride Parade in Vancouver. Oh. What was that like?
Pride was, I can say, one of my best days. It was the first time we had a float in the parade, and we're looking forward to doing it again. It was my first parade, and so I thought, well, what the heck, be on a float. Totally. Go big or go home. Yeah. The love was palpable. The crowds were beautiful, and the fact that our Prime Minister was there was such
Even
a joy.
Trudeau for icing on the cake, right?
He's wonderful.
Yeah, how great.
Wonderful.
Prime Minister just supporting is the main thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, very exciting news. We'll talk more with Adriana at the end, where you can go to learn more about Safe as Sound as well. But speaking of feeling loved and closeness with the community, you can get more of that at the recent Wanderlust Festival in Whistler. And turns out aerial yoga is one of the most popular practices at this year's festival. So we recently took to the air to find out what's all about. I'm here with Carmen Curtis, who is the founder of Aerial Yoga, one of the many lessons you could take here at Wanderlust during the weekend for yoga practices. Carmen, first of all, what is Aerial? It's not aerial, Aerial Yoga.
Well, Aerial Yoga is a brand of yoga using a hammock as a prop. So it's kind of a play on the spelling because we're doing yoga in the air, but it's really yoga. So, you know, there's a huge difference between aerial circus and aerial yoga, and we wanted to help educate people on that. So Aerial Yoga is the first and only brand of yoga with a hammock accredited by the Yoga Alliance, which is such a huge honor, which means we can start putting hammocks into all the yoga studios everywhere. I just wanted to make a prop that could assist you. I use it for circus, and circus is what I used to do, and I still do. I choreograph now.
It's becoming so much more popular. You actually choreographed Beyonce's tour, we should say. You're seeing these more in like actual shows.
I think it's growing in the world of rock and roll as a performance, and then aerial yoga is growing everywhere because we all need to take care of our body.
For sure, and that's what's all about here at Wanderlust. You said you're going to teach me a few moves here for beginners. I'm a little scared, but let's get started.
Open it up so it's like a loop, and then you're going to put it on like a backpack. This is what we call cross.
Okay.
It's in your upper rib cage.
All right.
So walk back till you feel tension, and it holds 1,000 pounds. That's the other thing to feel good about.
Should be able to hold, yeah, 100 or so.
So walk on forward now, so you're in like a chair. Ooh, and you can just hang. This is decompression for the spine. It should feel really good. And now straighten up those legs. Draw the hips up. Open up the arms. Flex your fingers and lay back. So come on down to the knees. Left hand is in. It's kind of like a game of Twister here. Push off the hand, turn to the front.
Oh my.
Yeah, on your right knee. It's okay, don't be scared. So take an exhale as you push through the hands, drawing the hips back. Bend your right knee, and then push your hips back. Walk your hands back to your right knee. There you go. Feels good, huh?
Feels amazing. Now that I've awkwardly gotten in, Carmen, you're going to show us, apparently you can do flips in these things?
Yeah, we can all flip upside down. Tell me how you feel. Are you okay?
Oh, this feels great.
You like
it's nice
it?
because you're not used to doing these movements in everyday life, right?
No, and you know, inversions are so incredible for you. They increase your circulation and they take away swelling. They reduce stress, anxiety. So now pull on up, straddle the legs. You got to open them up wide and slide your hands all the way down. Now you're upside down. And so now you can open the knees out wide.
Yeah.
And you can actually let go.
Let go. I don't want to.
Let go of any fear, let go of any doubt. You got it. Oh yeah, and then palms facing up. And just soften right here.
Carmen, that felt absolutely amazing. I was saying it's weird, you're not used to hang upside down like past the age of 5 or so. It's such a refreshing change.
It's time to flip the hourglass.
Yeah.
And see the world from a different view. You know, that rush, that flush is so amazing and so beneficial. So I'm glad I have something now to let everyone feel like a kid again.
Yeah, for sure. And if people can't come, obviously the Wanderlust Festival's happening. It's their second year. You'll likely be back. But do people just buy these like on your website, or how does it work that way?
Yeah, I'm at all the Wanderlust festivals, and some of the Wanderlust studios will have hammocks, and I install the hammocks at studios and do teacher training. So we're all over the world, and so you can look up on the website. We sell the hammocks, we sell the stand, we have videos, and we're just spreading the love.
Spreading the love. That's right. Lots of that Wanderlust. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Did great.
I gotta say, the best part I found of aerial yoga is at the end. It's pretty cool. They wrap you up in your sheet, pretty much like you're in a cocoon, and you get to just lie there for about 5 minutes or so. Pretty hard not to fall asleep, but so relaxing. So if you want to try aerial yoga yourself, learn more about Carmen's practices, visit aerialyoga.com, and that's AIRREAL yoga.com. All right, well, things are about to get a bit louder here on Go. If you're looking for a way to maybe switch up your routine here on the weekend along the sea to sky, why not give biathlon a try? Turns out up at Whistler Olympic Park, they're seeing record numbers of people come out to try the Olympic sport. So I too grabbed a rifle to see what it's all about. This is the site of where the biathlon took place during the Vancouver 2010 Olympics. The Canadian ski cross national team still uses the grounds for practicing. However, most of the time it's the public pulling the trigger.
After the Olympics, they wanted to make sure that we had this facility open in the summer as well. The rifles we use here at the range for the public are Russian-made, called Ishmash.
The first round was really easy. I got all 5 targets. On the bigger targets, only got 1 out of the smaller ones. But it was fun anyway.
We cannot do it in the Netherlands. We don't have enough snow all year round, but we see it on television, so I like it a lot.
After watching the pros, it was time to give it a shot.
This is the target size that you're going to be shooting on. It's 4.5 inches.
So is this the actual length that you'll see in the Olympics? This same kind of range?
It is. It's 50 meters.
That sounds easy enough.
All right.
Surprisingly, it was easy enough.
Woo! I think I got it.
It should be noted this setup is a far cry from the real sport. As you can see, pro biathletes self-support their guns, and in competitions they've run 10 to 20 kilometers by the time they pull up to the range.
The hardest thing for them is to control their breathing. They have to make sure that they slow their heart rates down, and then they can control their guns.
Participants are encouraged to take a full lap around the grounds to get the full experience. Based on my now 3 straight misses,
There's no way I'm making the national team.
the Whistler Olympic Park's newest fat bikes provide the perfect way to wind down after an afternoon of shooting. Riders even being able to cycle to the top of the 2010 ski jumps for an epic view of the Callahan Valley. The Vancouver Olympics may have come and gone, but it's clear from this attraction that fun is still in the air. Did you know that turns out biathlon is quite popular with war veterans in the States, which makes sense. They already have such sharp shooting skills, so interesting information there. And if you'd like to try biathlon yourself, it's happening at Whistler Olympic Park until early September or so. Well, Adriana, we've covered tons to do with the rainbow crosswalk, also safe and sound. The main thing, though, like we said, is the whole topic of just acceptance, love, spreading that. So where do you hope to see Squamish go in the future when it comes to LGBTQ awareness?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that that more people join the group and bring their ideas. We're always open to having youth and anyone else that can come and bring some fun ideas and some interesting ideas. Come and talk with us and bring them to us, and we'll see what we can do to facilitate them. In the fall, we've got some new fun things going on. I want to create some nighttime events. And then as well, we're looking to further education throughout the corridor, gender neutral washrooms and other spaces, as well as, again, just the workplace knowledge and just general awareness.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. It's so great to see you're seeing other communities. Even I said my past high school just got a gender neutral washroom in Langley, and who would have thought that day would come? So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, great to see you. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
having me. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, well, that wraps up our show. If you want to learn more about Safe and Sound, you can visit their website, safeandsoundsquamish.com, and also check out some stories we've done as well for LGBTQ awareness. We did a feature on Dean Nelson, who's a founder of Whistler Pride that happens every January up in the town there, so you can check that out on our YouTube channel, and the link is on the bottom of the screen there. Until next time, I'm Vanessa Ybarra.